20 years old.
We're live.
We're live.
We're live.
Oh, my goodness.
You're
Live, welcome to the April 28th, 2025, select board meeting. Sorry. We don't have a very packed agenda tonight, but, we got some announcements. So I have a bunch of things I want, because I do every meeting. I want to take a moment to talk about a couple things. They got nothing to do with nothing. This past weekend, I took a run around Oak Grove Farm trails. I don't know if any of you people have been to Oak Grove Farm lately, but it is spectacular. It is Millis's very own emerald necklace. Maybe not Frederick Olmsted, but close enough. I want to send a shout out to John and Sue McAvoy for making it incredible. There are boardwalks, there are stoneways. It is gorgeous, it's inviting, plenty of people use it. But I do want to say one thing about it. It's got nothing to do with nothing. A lot of people walk their dogs there, and a lot of people don't have their dogs on leash because I think they think that you can. But we have a leash law in Millis, am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
And it also covers Oak Grove Farm. And I know everybody has a dog that's well behaved, right up until the minute they're not well behaved. And there are plenty of people all over the world that are afraid of dogs. So please, if you are at Oak Grove Farm, please put your dog on a leash, whether you see somebody or you don't, because somebody will be coming around the corner. That's that piece. I also want to talk, I have an announcement about mailing to seniors, right? Joyce?
Yes.
Wanted me to announce on, hold on, mailing. The Council on Aging, oh, do you want to get up?
Oh, no, I thought you just said.
The Council on Aging, in partnership with UMass Boston Gerontology, is launching a survey that's going to be mailed out to Millis older adults, which they peg at age 60 or older. It'll be mailed out in mid-May, and they're going to ask you some questions about your needs and concerns as you age in this lovely town of Millis. So please look for this in your mailbox and please send it back. I'm hopeful that you don't have to put a stamp on it, right? You just drop it.
And it can be done online as well.
Oh, can it be done online? Well, that's awesome. Okay, and then I want to talk about this unbelievable thing that I had no knowledge of. Did anybody know about the Sand Salt for Senior program?
Yes.
Did you know about that? Well, I didn't know, but did you know about that?
I heard something.
You heard something?
Yeah.
Well,
Ellen, I don't know anything about it. Why don't you tell us?
apparently we have a sand salt. I don't think you know anything about it because you're looking at me like, what are you talking about? Well, apparently there's a Sand Salt for Senior program, and it ended somewhere around the middle of April. The fire department distributes buckets of sand to seniors in town. Does that sound right to you?
Yes.
And some of the buckets come back, they pick them up at the end of the season. I wonder how many buckets they use with this incredible ice season we had. And a lot of them come back with thank you notes in them for, I can't believe that you do this. Anyway, a shout out to the Millis Fire Department and to Otis, I think, who is managing that, and to the Millis COA for providing the list. So that's kind of incredible. Jim McKay's here, so he's got some good news for us, so I don't need to say that. And then.
Not yet.
Not yet, because you're coming up, we can wait. He's killing me, Jim. And we have a focus group on May 1st,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there is, the May 1st, which is a week from, no,
No, it's this Thursday.
it's this Thursday
Thursday.
at the Millis Middle High School in the auditorium. There's going to be a public forum. I urge everybody to attend.
What's the topic of this
The
forum?
topic is gonna be,
You have.
I'm trying to bring it out of her. I know, I've got the agenda.
he's doing a good job. The topic is that, we are now in the schematic design phase of the process, which is apparently the fun phase, where we get to design the new facility and establish the scope, budget, and the schedule for this project. So there are a lot of decisions to be made, and at this forum, we get to ask you what your thoughts are on these decisions, and you get to ask questions. This is the first big kickoff to this project. It's gonna be quiet over the summer. It'll pick back up in the fall. I urge you to attend. It is Thursday, this Thursday, at 7 o'clock in the Middle High School auditorium. Please come and participate. The last one is, town meeting is May 5th, which is a week from today. That's exciting. What time's that? 7:30?
7:30.
7:30 at the Millis Middle High School Auditorium, where it always is. And then the following Monday is the election, May 12th, here, downstairs. And we don't meet again until May 19th, which is crazy. Are you good with that?
I'm good with that.
He's good with that. All right, now we'll get to the important stuff. Do you have any updates though, on our placeholder, or was that it, the forum?
The forum for the high school is the placeholders.
Okay.
Unless anybody has any questions about the forum. I mean, that was there so people could ask questions if they had any questions.
Okay, questions on questions. The town meeting and DPW updates, you're in the announcement. Here we go. Make us happy.
I will.
I know you will. No, you will.
Okay. So, if we all remember back in November, the, town meeting adopted a new change to the bylaw and charter change for the, water permit. And as I explained back then, there was a severe, water restrictions that would be implemented coming this May 1st. So, as part of the bylaw, it was up to the DPW director, before the select board would always vote enact the watering ban. Now that's up to the DPW director. There's 3 stages of it, and this is we're gonna print this. But somehow now we have to figure out how to get this to everybody residents and to figure out this new watering ban. It's very complicated. The basic is that, people will only be allowed to water 2 days a week. No matter what, as of starting this May 1st, it'll be odd even. And that's how it will be done. There'll be one day that there'll be no watering whatsoever. But we'll figure out how to get it out there. We have to put it in the newspaper, so we have a little bit of time for that. So that's coming up May 1st. Watering ban will go in effect. New signs are being printed, so people can hopefully better understand it. And we'll do the best we can. It'll be all in line with Karen. We'll talk to her when she comes back.
That wasn't the good news, was it?
No, that's, well, it is.
It is for the-
It's-
for the
permit
environment.
was accepted. You know.
Okay, yeah, right.
The good news, pertaining to the PFAS plant, we submitted our first requisition to the federal government, and we've already received the money back in our bank. I know there's a lot of people in the, finance committee had questioned, whether that was gonna be done, and so I've already submitted and gotten one of the pay recs back,
Nice.
and it's already paid for that. So that's with, water. Just quickly on the general side, we met with J.H. Lynch today. They're the contractor that's going to pave Route 109. And they know that we're top on the list. They're just waiting to get the District 3 to get the go ahead for them to start working. So that could be any day now, or until the truck's here and the milling starts to begun, I'll believe it when it happens. We did talk that, all that work, if not all of it, most of the milling and, paving will be done at night. They said they just cannot do it during the day. It's gonna affect several residents. There are people that live on Route 109. But there's not really much we can do about it. So I'll remember that's not costing us, well, eventually throughout taxes, it's costing us, but it's not costing the town. And the estimated amount was $1.87 million for the paving that they're gonna do on Route 109. We also had them, it's gonna be the same contractor that's gonna do our paving from our list. We actually drove around today with them and, David drove around with them. We measured up the streets that I presented to you originally. And hopefully, maybe not in the next meeting, the meeting after that, we'll have a price that we can actually put that out to bid actually before July first. And then if there's money left over, and when we get our appropriation in July with chapter 90, we may be able to add another street to that. If, we'll follow in succession the way that I said it, and I presented it to you, of the paving. And the next one would be, Puggaso Circle up in, off Orchard Street. If that's not first, it may be second, but we'll definitely be done next year. I mean, it's a road that was probably paved 40, 50 years ago, and it's just totally gone. And what else? Transfer station, again, at the, finance committee, I was given a lot of talk about why isn't the transfer station, self-funding, so on, so on, so on. So I did look at it, the transfer station, depending on which year it is, because it depends on how much funds come in each given year, because some of the, if people turn in their transfer station money in June, that helps offset that fiscal year. And then depending on how many people turn it in July, that could be a deficit on the next fiscal year as you get to the June payment. I did meet with the town administrator about this, last week. And we definitely know that there has to be some sort of increase at the transfer stations, but in order to do that, we have to have a public hearing. And believe me, that's only if we raise the bag price 10 cents, we have to have a public hearing. So we are planning on looking at definitely raising the price of the bags and, the drop off, the mattresses, all that stuff. It's $25 across the board, and it's costing us more to get rid of it than we're actually bringing in.
Yeah.
And you can see it, you can see how much, because we're getting more checks for that than you can, it's just that every week we get several, like $500-600 every week from people dropping stuff off. So it's costing us a lot more, but we'll be back with that in January. So right now, we're not asking for any, increase in the transfer station. Because we gotta get the stickers out to sale. We usually get the 1st of June. And I think that's it.
Do you have an upgrade on the school? You've been doing a lot of work
Yeah, so we
there.
did over there, everything,
Good.
that's gonna be part of the budget, the project presentation.
Jumping ahead.
Oh my
We
God,
did.
I'm always jumping.
We paved it, in front of the school entrance. We milled it last week and that was paved, while the kids were on vacation. We ripped up the road, in between the tennis courts and the pond. And that will be eventually, that's part of the contract, because we don't have the ability to, putting down a base and then on top of it, a top coat. So that will be part of this project, the paving project.
Awesome, awesome.
Thanks. I'll see you in there.
Great news.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're only 8 minutes late. Next on the agenda is a high school senior project presentation. Come on up.
Good, how are you?
Good.
Thank you.
Introduce yourself, address,
It's Daniel Sparks.
4 inches to the mic.
So hi,
There you go.
my name is Daniel Sparks, a resident of Millis and a senior at Millis High School. Is my presentation sharing?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's perfect. Better than I could do.
So for my senior project, I wanted to work on something that would benefit both students and parents of Millis High School. In particular, I wanted to work on school grounds, particularly in leaving Millis school grounds, as a lot of the time it's just extremely difficult. It's very traffic congests very easily. And one of the key parts of that congestion is little side utility road between the entrance of Millis High School and I think it's Monroe Street, right? Yeah. And a lot of the times, what are some key problems? Illegal parking. Illegal parking is one of the biggest problems with that utility road. Cars would park legally on both sides of the street. making it hard to use as a two-way road. And would ultimately cause cars to not be able to like actually use it as a two-way road. They're gonna be stuck right in the middle, headbutting each other, unable to move. Loose traffic flow also causes this. It's very difficult for drivers to know where they're going, especially when there's nowhere really to go, causing even more of that standstill. And there are a lot of legal parking options available, such as the legal parking spots on the side of Millis High School, or legal parking spots down by the CFP. They're just not utilized because people want to get out quickly, and it just causes trouble for the rest of us, but and then here's some photos with like.
I hope my
this is
truck's
example
not in one of
of
those
this.
photos.
But, like,
What?
They just park on both sides of the road and makes it,
That's me.
that's unbelievably difficult on both sides of the street. And then it leads to problems like this, where they're just unable to pass each other, and it's just.
Did you stage that?
I did not stage that.
Come on.
That was on the last day of me collecting photos. I was like,
That's
oh my
crazy.
god, this is,
Perfect.
this is a
This
perfect
is
shot.
just what I needed.
And if people just actively do it, I mean, there are signs that say no parking anytime, and they just disobey and go out there. I mean, they just go and illegally park, especially with summer coming around. Pickleballers, tennis players, they're gonna be swarming those spots like crazy, making it even more difficult for drivers to leave. So the proposed plan. Widen the road so that it's much easier for two-way access. That way, so that even if worst case scenario begins to pile up again, there'll still be ways to pass each other in a two-way road. Stencil out legal parking on the pickleball court side of the road to allow some drivers to park there legally, as well as support the pickleballers and the tennis players who also park on that road for the courts. Stencil a no parking tow zone on the other side of the road. This is mainly for, you know, fire department, EMS, police department, largely in part because if by any chance there is a issue that happens at Millis High School, they will be able to get up there and there won't be any congestion or any delay to that problem. And then it would be to install more visible signs, try and deter as much illegal parking as you can, and ultimately try and make it as a deterrent. So what would it look like? So it'd be more the road would be widened for easier two-way. Then legal parking spots would be placed on the tennis ball, pickleball court side. And then a no parking tow zone would be put on the swamp side of the road to allow to deter illegal parking and allow EMS and fire departments to reach Millis High School. Thank you.
Do you know how many parking spaces you get?
So
Cause it only
first
looks
I want
like,
to commend Daniel for doing a great job with this.
Yeah.
We've been meeting since October, or I think way back even. So he's also has met with the police chief, the school resource officer
can you go back one slide?
with this
Please.
problem. So
Yeah.
if you can
okay.
see, if you take a ride over there now, you can see that we've already widened it to the specification. It's definitely wider than what it was, so we use millings to put there so people can drive by it now. And with the police chief's approval, this is exactly what we'll do. We'll put a couple of spaces. There's not gonna be many, maybe 4.
Maybe
if-
they
if
should
that-
be handicapped,
Yeah, oh, whatever, we can talk about that in time.
right?
We all gotta remember this, that road was, when it was built for an access road from here, from the fire station to get a fire truck to the high school, and that was always the.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was
Right.
not made for, and then when they built the Clyde Brown School, maybe it should have been addressed then, but oh well. So most of the stuff that we took away from our meetings with Daniel was that something needed to start, so we started it, because if you lose a construction season, it's not gonna do any good for anybody. And we took this project seriously. So that's why you can see the road is widened already, and out in front of the school, which we haven't addressed, that was even worse, the entrance, coming out of the high school. The only thing that we may have to talk with the chief about is making it a two-way or a one-way. He wasn't too happy with it, making it a one-way, which kind of surprised me, but,
Which way would the one way?
it would, Daniel wanted to propose that, come down from the high school to try to get to McCabe Street. But it's his project and I told him to propose it the way he wanted to propose it. And let's go from, we'll go from there.
Are the police on board to enforce the?
I
no
know.
zone?
That's the,
Yeah, they would, yeah, of course they would.
Yeah,
that's the piece of the puzzle, right?
If it's definitely stenciled there, definitely.
then you can go after it. Yeah.
One of those days, the kid's gonna be in a hurry.
Yeah.
Try and nip it in the bud as much as you can before it actually happens.
So, what are we here for?
I don't think there's anything approval, it's just part of his senior project, he probably should be talking, I should shut up, but,
Yeah.
it's part of his senior project. And he's,
Turn you talk.
and he's supposed to, present it here, and he'll be able to do this, as maybe use the clippings when he does his project at the high school, I mean, at the
Excellent.
library.
It's a great idea.
It's a very
It
good
really
idea,
is.
yeah.
It really,
Definitely a problem point there.
really is.
He had drawings and everything before any of that, this is just the final project. I mean,
So how much did you pick up?
On each side, it's about 3 feet more than.
On each side,
Yeah,
Hmm.
most of it's on the pond side.
right,
And we can actually push it that way, even though, the water will still run that way, we're not changing anything,
right.
it's just.
So was there any thought to widening it even more to get parking on both? Impossible, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
You'd never get you'd have that, even with that parked on both sides, just have kids coming in and out.
It's
And
true.
if you had to get an ambulance up there.
Yeah.
it would work.
well, you have my vote if you need it. I think it's brilliant and I think it is gonna make a difference and that's pretty good.
Thank you very much. That was well done and nice presentation.
Thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
nice. Yeah. I want to be there when the first car is towed. And as long as it's not
It'll
mine,
be yours, that's-
on
Yeah,
the, on the,
it'll be one of yours.
will be one of mine.
Yeah,
Okay. Next, we have the appointment of the building commissioner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This evening, I am recommending that the board ratify my appointment of Robert Fogarty as the building commissioner for the town of Millis. Mr. Fogarty has worked for the town since 2020, first as a local inspector, then as an alternate building commissioner, and more recently as our acting building commissioner. Earlier this year, Mr. Fogarty successfully received a certification as a building commissioner in Massachusetts. In addition, Mr. Fogarty has over 30 years of experience in the building and construction trades. And through my interactions with him and from my discussions with other people that have worked with him, I strongly believe that Mr. Fogarty is well suited for this position and will make an excellent addition to the town's full-time management staff. So I'm asking for the board's ratification of this appointment this evening.
Well, I'm good with it. I know that Mr. Fogarty's been here a long time and he's a Millis guy. And, what more can you ask for? So,
Yeah.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And do we make,
you have to,
Yes.
we have something
Okay.
voted. It's
I move
done.
that the board vote to ratify the town administrator's appointment of Robert Fogarty as the building commissioner for the town of Millis.
Second,
it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Very, very, very.
I was wondering what the cheering section.
I know, listen.
I put it together. It just took me a second.
Did you want to say anything?
Yeah,
Well, get up here.
I'd just like to say thanks to the board, and to Mike and Karen for the opportunity. Looking forward to getting to work next Monday on a full-time basis. And, really excited, so.
Right.
So we.
Great. Thanks. Real excited.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congrats.
See ya. Thank you.
Congrats again. Good job. Well deserved. Okay,
Now they gotta take her.
we have where am I? Approval, you're coming back, Jim?
No, I think. All right, let me just-
Approval of the
band.
BAN, the band.
Likes to talk,
No,
so
it's
he
just
can
gonna,
take over.
no, it's just gonna.
Yeah.
Jen's gonna take care of this. This is part of the SRF grant. It's been a long fight to get this finally finalized. When we upped the contingency, they made us fill out all the paperwork all over again, so you need to send another vote for. getting
Oh,
this-
right.
Yeah,
Okay,
All right, that sums it up.
then I'm good with
Treasurer
that.
Scannell, treasurer collector. So I am here before the board, for the board to seek authorization for the town to enter into a loan agreement with the Mass Clean Water Trust. This loan, as Jim explained, is to pay capital expenditures related to the PFAS plant to address excessive levels of PFAS identified in well 3, which was authorized twice back in November of 23 at the fall town meeting, and then we needed to do some contingency authorization last fall. So Jim's been up here many times with the PFAS plan, you know, there's federal funding and then there's this state funding. Just to give you a little background about the Mass Clean Water Trust, it was designed to provide affordable financing for communities that have water infrastructure projects. So the great thing about this loan is it's 0%. So that's the main thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, Jim's worked really hard with our engineering services to secure this along with the federal grant that we're gonna get for the remainder of the project. The amount of this loan is $3,707,090, which is what I need you to authorize today. I did put a suggested motion on my memo to the board. Do you have that?
would it be different
Yes.
than our motion?
The vote of the select board, and it's to be signed by the clerk of the select board.
Hold on,
Do you see
one
it?
second.
I have it written if you need it.
I didn't think it was necessary for them to read the entire motion,
No,
just to reference it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
that's
no,
fine.
no, no, no.
I'm
Yeah.
fine.
You got the
Okay.
suggested
Yep,
motion.
I'm good.
Yeah.
You do not need to read that.
Oh, wait, I'm the clerk.
You're gonna have to sign.
Okay, sign it.
Yeah, there's a few documents that I.
I have them in your office to sign after. the
Okay,
meeting.
are we good? Karen?
I think so. I'm gonna read this motion.
Well, we'll see.
I move that the board approve the ban for the PFAS plant construction project at well number 3 as detailed in the select board meeting packet.
Second,
No,
Not good?
Is it an official bond?
This from bond council, let's just read this one.
All right.
Okay,
It's not that much longer, but
you
it's a
have
little
it?
bit.
No, here. We like
It
paper.
was sent to,
oh, okay, I don't have that there. All right, thank you. Take 2.
That's what happened from Karen is not feeling well.
I move that we adopt
Good job,
the
Mike.
vote prepared by bond council in print before the board in connection with borrowing $3,707,090 through the Mass Clean Water Trust under loan number DW 2442 and sign note closing documents.
That
that's
sound
very
good?
similar to what
Sounds
you
good to
put
me.
there, second. So close to the first one, second.
It's been moved and
a little
seconded.
different.
All those in favor?
Thanks.
Aye, unanimous.
I just have to sign it.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thanks,
Black.
thanks, Jen. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the hearing for the package store license, transfer of license, change of manager. You can come up, Sonny, but I'm going to, suggest that we push this a week. We have another meeting in 1 week. And I know I got something from you 8 seconds ago.
Yeah.
But I can't work with 8 seconds. So we're gonna push it. We have a meeting
We have a meeting.
right before town meeting.
6:30.
At 6:30.
At 6:30.
So I would recommend then that the board take a vote to continue the hearing until Monday, May 5th at 6:30 PM in the middle high school library.
Perfect. I will find you. Don't
I think
worry.
do we have to make that
Do
motion?
you have
Yes.
anything, Aaron?
Yeah.
Do
No.
you remember it? Go ahead, Mike.
I move that we continue the hearing to Monday, May 5th at 6:30 in the Middle High School Public Library.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
Okay.
I'll
Thank
be in
you.
touch. Don't worry. Go ahead, Jim.
How do the abutters know?
Can you come up?
I know I'm here as an
Can you
abutter.
come up, Jimmy? Okay, so,
The question is, how do the abutters know
know what?
that the hearing's being moved? I mean, like, we got letters. to go-
Right, so they were all informed of tonight's hearing, so they should either be here or watching on, cable television. And we gave formal notice at this meeting that it's continued to a future date and time. That's how these things are typically done. This happens a lot with like the planning board and the zoning.
Do you
board.
wanna say, Jimmy, do you wanna say anything?
Well, I was,
Well, you'd have to open the hearing if he's gonna talk.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Well,
my only question was, is it gonna be a full package store?
it's gonna be what it is now.
All right.
There's no change, correct?
As far as I know, it's the same as.
Wine malt.
Same, it's the same,
It's
Yeah.
the same.
It says wine and malt, yeah.
yeah. Wine and
Okay.
mall.
Okay, no change, just change of ownership of the business. Okay, and now, because I told Brutus to be here at 7:40,
Let's
He's
do the
going to-
batting
I know
cages.
that,
it's never going to be early.
Mr. Barubi is here.
Oh,
for the
Mr.
item
Barubi.
Having to do
Keep him.
with the batting cage project.
Get up here.
And that's just a few items down on your list.
You don't know how lucky you are, Pete. Squeezing you in before Brutus.
You make it home before midnight.
Good evening, I'm Pete Ruby, I live at 8 Road Road, and I'm treasurer of North Youth Baseball, and I'm here to speak on their behalf. As you may remember, North Youth Baseball for the last 2 to 3 years has been planning and fundraising to replace the batting cages that are out on the corner by the pickleball court and by Memorial Field. I did not provide you with a proposal, but for tonight, but it's the exact same proposal that we have shared, and I will send it out this evening or no later than tomorrow for you to review. I've sent you some
Mhm.
in the previous discussions, really our intent is just to replace the batting cages on almost the identical footprint with materials that are more modern and really that are safer. So there won't be any real significant footprint for the batting cages. We are really looking to one, modernize it, make it a little easier for us to maintain. Every year, those nets that cover that cage have to go up and down. And the new facility or the new system, that wouldn't be required. They would really just be on a rope system. We tie them to the poles. The poles will be significant. Right now, they're just like 2-inch galvanized poles. They are in the various states of disrepair. They are unsafe. The netting that is out there right now actually, in some cases, touches the poles. So when the balls are batted, there's constant ricochets. It's dangerous. I know personally of people that have gotten hit, including some town employees. You know, and they're, because the whole community's out there, especially this time of year. So the new system, the net would actually be suspended from cables and it would be away from any poles. And there actually will only be 6 poles total for that entire system. Basically be 3 on each end and they would be hung from steel cables. Millis Youth Baseball has, as I said earlier, have done a number of fundraising. We have commitments not only to buy the system ourselves. We have secured commitment from Tresca to help us with the concrete, from a company named Island Lighting, which is in Norfolk. It's owned by a gentleman that lives in Medway, but his wife is a Millis, used to be a Millis resident. She grew up here. And they're happy to support. And then we also have, I believe, commitment from the DPW to help us demolish the existing cage system. So we've put it off a number of times, mainly due to fundraising, but at this point, we just wanted to tell you about it, solicit your support. We understand that there are no permits required for us to do this. We would like to potentially put a concrete pad down, and then put artificial grass or artificial turf over that, so that there is no rock and it's not messy. If there's a permit required for that, we certainly would submit that for approval.
Okay.
Is there a, excuse me, there's no pad now?
There is
On the
only,
ground?
there's a very small pad just where the batters stand, but not for the
Okay.
entire length.
Okay, I remember this. You came up, I don't know how many months ago. Months,
Years.
a year.
Years.
Been at least- So are you only here because it's town property?
Yes,
Well-
essentially, there's 2 reasons, Madam Chair. One is, they've requested the assistance of the Department of Public Works.
Okay.
So just need to get authorization from the board to work with them on this. And also, it is on town property, and
Okay.
it's a change, it's a new construction on town property, and the board technically needs to just give an okay for that to happen.
You know, in terms of ownership of the actual system, I don't know officially, you know, if we were to build it and were to gift it to the town, or if we were just to retain ownership of it, I don't know.
We
You know,
don't need
would
it.
be open to either.
We don't need it, that's not why I was asking.
Yeah.
Because then it's responsibility, Pete, and I, you know. But let me ask you, it's Millis Youth Baseball, does softball get to use, everybody get to use it?
So yes, we're not gonna control access to it, and there really hasn't been a problem in all these years that those cages have been out there. We have asked Millis Youth Softball to support the project. I believe if they could, they would. And we plan to allow the school
Okay.
baseball and softball teams to use it as needed. Obviously, we would have to deconflict the times with when they practice. Their cages are in a great state of disrepair. They're probably in worse shape than, in my personal opinion, than the ones that are out there. In addition, I suspect that if the school project goes through, that those could be gobbled up in construction laydown areas or parking lot areas. I don't
Okay,
know what the future of that site is.
okay, do these things get locked when
They,
they,
they do not get locked.
so
It's just a-
anybody can
just
go
a
in
net.
with a bat and a ball?
Correct. There's no lighting out there
I'll see you
now.
there at,
Yeah.
okay.
We did, there have been several
You're good.
members of the baseball board that have proposed to move them. To possibly put them on each baseline or out in the outfields. We have proposed to keep them in the exact same position, basically the exact same footprint. Because we don't want to change any of the sites for the site for the abutters. It's the exact
Okay.
That's
same
good.
layout.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, I'm good with
Thank you, I
that.
appreciate your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I'm good.
We're good.
I move that the board vote to authorize the Department of Public Works to assist Millis Youth Baseball with the demolition and disposal of the old batting cages and concrete foundations at Majors Field, and to allow Millis Youth Baseball to install new batting cages and concrete pads at the same location.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Years of work. Thank
I
you.
hope that putting the placement and doing the work is shorter than the process of getting the approval. All right. Perfect, Brutus. So we we're at Brutus, right?
We are.
Brutus, come on up.
Perfectly.
So. On municipal moment, you can either stand or sit, probably sit. You look like you need a sit.
Back, so,
Is your back sore?
yeah, getting old.
A municipal moment tonight. Town meeting. How does it work? Does it work? Yes, it works. Spoiler alert. This is so timely because guess what? Town meeting is in
7 days.
7
Wait,
days.
week from tonight.
One
Wait,
week.
what?
1 week, 1 week. So Brutus is our town moderator. He runs town meeting, as it were. And we also have a former moderator to my left, Erin. If you need any help, available. Let's have at it. Just conversation and let people know.
All right, so I was thinking about this and some things I know and folks don't know. So Millis has what's called a town meeting. It's a form of government.
4 inches to the mic, 4 inches.
There you go.
Perfect.
So it's an open town meeting. It's one of the oldest forms of government that it's still very unique to New England. And in our town meeting, it's open, which means anybody can come, anybody can show up as a resident. They can talk, they can, bring up issues, they can change government.
Do you have to be a voter? Jimmy says yes.
Yeah, you registered voter.
You have to be a registered voter to attend town
You
meeting.
can fit in the
You can-
special non.
Which is okay,
Right. Okay.
but a resident can talk.
Yeah.
To vote.
Oh, Jimmy's, what, were you a moderator, Jim?
I think a resident can talk with unanimous consent,
That's-
A non-resident, a non-resident.
Non-resident.
Yeah.
You net,
even, a non-voter.
Yes,
Right, right,
yes,
right.
a non-voter, you're right.
Unanimous consent.
Consent to talk.
So Jimmy
Remember
just,
Mr. Gracie getting thrown?
just said that if you're a non-voter and you come and you want
So
to
do I.
talk, this happens a lot because you could be a business owner and not live in Millis, and something could be on the warrant that affects you. So you come, and you think you're just gonna stand up, but it has to be, nobody can object. If one resident objects, you can't talk. You could sit, but you can't talk.
So, like I said, it's an open town meeting. Some towns, like, they have what's called a representative town meeting. Larger towns will have that. And they break it up in different ways, but you actually vote for a representative for you to speak at town meeting. And also the forms of government people will fill, there's like mayor or council or strong town manager and a council. But this is, it's really unique.
What's the matter?
His mic is too close, so it's bouncing,
Oh,
just to, yeah.
4 inches.
Maybe 6, you're loud.
You're allowed.
My voice has been known to carry. So it's very neat. And one story I always tell, back, I think it was, 2014 through MMA, the scholarship that I got, Mass Municipal Association, and I hosted, Pakistani officials that came here. And you might remember, but I took them to Boston and we saw the legislative work. Then we went to Franklin where I work and we saw the city council work. And I took them then I brought them here to, Millis meeting. And this is the truth. These guys, after going to Millis meetings, are lively one. So one guy and these guys are pretty high up in Pakistan. One guy ran the trains, one guy's involved in hospitals, the other guy was involved in mining. So they were pretty high up there. But, and then I always remember 2 were named Muhammad and 1 was named Iqbal. But Iqbal afterwards, he was crying after them. He had said that he had never seen government reach down to the people like they did, because people could sit up and they could change government. They don't have that over there. I mean, they're a democracy, but the level that it reached down, they said, never seen anything like that. And he was really, really taken back by it. It was very interesting. And these were guys I asked for, and I'm like, so what's your democracy like over in Pakistan? He's like, yeah, Brutus, I work for the people, I've worked for dictators, I've worked for women, I've worked for men, and these are people that they always stay in government. Like, when the new leaders change and new forms of government, they always stay there. So they were really impressed by what it went down to. The other thing about that, that's unique well, not unique, I appoint the FinCom here. So that's my job. It's not the select board. So we appoint the FinCom. And I work with 2 great guys, Mr. Brewery, and I'm working with Mr. Laurie now. And I pretty much let them, choose and do it, but I actually make the appointment afterwards, because they're kind of running the show. And the other thing that's unique here is, you're in charge of Oak Grove Farm. I don't know if people know that. It's
Who's in charge of
the
Oakwood?
moderator. I appoint the commission up there. And, back in what I was told back in 1984, when the town bought it, there was a big deal. And a lot of residents thought that the selectmen or people at the time were gonna sell off pieces of it. And they wanted to keep the farm as a whole, so they wanted to put another layer in there, so they put it under the moderator. So I actually appointed the board. So,
Interesting.
And the Memorial Day Committee,
yeah,
which nothing's ever happened.
what's that?
Audience.
Oh, audience.
Oh, yeah.
Or
So that's kind of unique about the position.
Jimmy, that's our delay
Yeah.
for him to come all the. Okay, now let's talk about town meeting.
So town meeting it's like I said, it's very unique. I find it challenging at times. I also find it rewarding, because a lot of people say it is in this day and age, everything moves so fast. It's a very inefficient form of government. We only meet twice a year, to make major decisions. And, when I first moved to town here, we only had, 1 town meeting, and they'd always have a fall special, but you couldn't get a quorum sometimes because not enough people showed up. So that's why they did, the state. So now we have 2 full town meetings. And I always remember when, I worked for the town for Public Works, there was a thing that the town, you couldn't spend more than 50 grand unless town meeting approved it back in the day. And that's the way it was. We had a sewer lift station over there, the pump failed. So I couldn't buy a new one. till town meeting. So meantime, I had the guys going out in overtime, breaking it out, so it kept working, and that went on for 4 months. We ended up spending like 15 grand in overtime, but we couldn't buy it.
That
You know,
that sounds right.
Yeah. So,
The new article.
so that's a tough thing about it. But once again, it goes back to it can be very rewarding because people can work with it. As moderator, it's hard to get people to participate because, you know, we live in a day and age, but it's the same thing that goes back. We can talk about people at home and streaming and time. But I'll tell you what, it was the same way 25 years ago, trying to get people to show up to town meeting. And I think you all know, and you all say it's like, most of the time people don't show up unless it's NIMBA, it's in my backyard, or they're really gonna affect them. They don't come
Right.
unless it's a big thing.
No, but that's very interesting, because people say today, well, we have everybody, you know, COVID and everything, people don't go out. People never did.
No,
It never did. I remember times when you call and say, we don't even have a quorum, get down here. You'd be up
Yes.
at the payphone. Get down here, get down here.
and there was one I was telling Ellen about, I forget what year it was, when the state legislature authorized the 0.25% local tax option on restaurants, which in the whole scheme of things, that was huge, because the legislature don't want to give up no power. They want to be in charge of all taxing. They like getting all the money, and they like deciding who's gonna pass out. It was a huge thing that they actually did 0.25. And obviously there was some controversy on that, because people like, oh, it's gonna run business out, you know, whatever the thing was. But I remember I was almost watching it, and I'm like, they don't have a quorum, you know, so I ran down here, and it actually passed by 1 vote. If you go back and look at it. So, and I don't know what the numbers are, but that helps us in our budget, and I don't think really people noticed it.
Hundreds of thousands.
It's over $100,000.
Thank you, Brutus, for running down here
Thank
and
you.
voting for it.
Well, someone else.
We don't know if he voted for it. We knew he ran down.
You know, someone else said that to show up too. So, yeah, that's the thing. And it's, I think it would, to your point, it makes it more difficult nowadays because people's attention span, okay? Even to get someone down here, you know, the issue goes away and it comes back. So then when you actually get them to town meeting, to try to get people to speak, I think it's so great when someone speaks up, and we've all been at different town meetings that people show up that have never spoken before. I mean, that is wonderful.
It is.
You know, that you can get the guts, the fortitude to stand up in front of your
Yeah.
peers, and that's just a to thing to do, because, I mean, it's easy to do on Facebook, everybody loves doing it on Facebook, where everybody do it, but to actually be in front of a group of people, I mean, that's a tough thing to do, and I really admire folks that do that come down. So, you know, with that said, it's always like, you wanna allow people to speak, but then as running the meeting, you know, you can't let them speak too much. You know, you can't let it go on too long. That's one thing, but you don't wanna, you can't be rude about it, so, you know, we do the standard 3 minutes, but 3 minutes to speak is a long time when it really comes down to it. So you get your message across. And then the other thing is, you know, it comes up quite often is, you know, some people get up and say the same thing, you know. They don't like brown dogs, I don't know, whatever it might be, but you know, all these people keep talking about, okay, we know that. You know, we know it's gonna cost $100, you know, because it's been brought 14 times, okay? So you kinda gotta move people along, and you kinda gotta do it in a good way. And then, you know, I think, you know, I'm gonna say, like, my personality, I try to make it somewhat, you know, entertaining. I want people to come to town meeting and feel like they left with something. That, you know, it was, you know, rewarding, whether it's good or bad. You know, sometimes you walk away with town meeting and you're pissed because it didn't go your way. But, you know, that's part of it. You can't win them all, you can't lose them all, and that's the way you get to it. So running a meeting, it's really unique. I really like it. I like twice a year doing it. I think it's great. You see the residents come out, you know, and, you know, it's, the one thing I'll say it's hard for me is, some of you might remember, I like to get up and speak and make different points. I really can't do it now. I have to moderate. I gotta sit in the background, you know, sit up. But, no, it's a good thing.
What about when people move the question? What is, can you explain even that? And when you
So-
allow it and when maybe you don't?
Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny. It was explained to me, Mark Sorrell, he's
Yeah.
town council in Franklin, but he was moderator for like 20
He was
years
town council in Medfield.
in Medfield
Ever,
too. He's
ever.
lawyer, and he explained to me in like, in a funny way, he said, he's like, moderator is all powerful. Because, you know, it is, when
It
you're
is.
running the town meeting as the moderator, you know, as a select board, you put the warrant together. If I decide not to call a warrant item, there's nothing you really can do about it, because it goes through the moderator.
Is
And then
that crazy?
and it's, you know, I mean, the extreme would be, it's like, I don't call the budget. They don't call the budget. What are you gonna do? You close town meeting, you can't get rid of me, because I'm an elected official, I have to have a recount, right? How long is that gonna take? We're going past July 1st, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a crazy system. So when they say move the article, it's basically you just can call for a vote. There could be people, you know, and I guess the extreme would be, I could just call for a vote, you don't even have to have a discussion on it.
But
Right.
what's your personal opinion on that? Because I've seen people ask for it after one person has spoken. And people ask for it after 50 people, you know what I mean?
So I always say in my notes, you know, when people come up, you know, I gotta be rational about it. But if, you know, people are in line to speak, I'm gonna, you know, someone can move the pin, I'm gonna allow people to speak,
Good.
absolutely.
I like-
And, to go up there and do that. Yeah, some people wanna move it really quick, or then the other one, their favorite thing is they wanna change the order. You know, they wanna call Article 22 after 2. I mean, you could do that, you know, no, that's just the way it's been laid out, you guys spend time on it, you know, going through it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have the power to do that.
What's that, I could,
You
yeah,
you could.
yeah.
And what about the all-time favorite? When you have, something that comes up, number 3, it's the most controversial, and then it gets voted up or down. And then everybody leaves and goes home. And then somebody waits to the very end and calls it back.
Reconsider, yeah.
You're reading this.
Now, is it true that there has to be new information? I've always heard that you
They-
just can't call it back because.
They say that,
everybody
but at the time, it's gonna determine that.
You?
Yeah, that's me, and that's, I could say if I'm gonna recall it or not. I can't say, you know, it happened one time that I was here and we didn't accept it, I took the motion to, end the town meeting. So, you know, there's always, you also see people on the other side, they'll be like raising their hand. Or someone on the FinCon, it's like, soon as the last article, April 25th, they're like, motion, moderator, and town meeting. Yeah, motion closed. So, you know, you just kind of go like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't, I mean, this is me personally, I don't think that's right. That if someone could call back and do something like that, because especially if you had a, pretty good discussion going forward,
Yeah.
if people leave. Cause you value people's time.
Yes, I think
Yeah.
everybody deserves to be respected, especially at town meeting.
Yeah.
Because like you say, I remember the woman at the last one, she was so nervous, I think it was her first time speaking, and she had a great thing to say. Everybody has something good to say.
Yeah.
It's awesome, oh, it really is.
You got something? Got a question? You look like you got a
I
question.
don't have a question. I'm just, the reconsideration, I've only, you know, I've seen it proposed once or twice and that's about it. And one time there was new information, but still didn't pass. You know,
Yeah.
people are respectful of, and it may have deserved to be reconsidered that time because there was clearly new information that came in. We just brought it back at the next town meeting. But, anyway, so yeah, no, that's, I enjoy town meeting.
Aaron, how long were you moderator?
Only 2 years.
2 years, only 2 years. How long have you been moderator? This is your
Fourth year, yeah.
Yeah.
full life.
I
Wow.
do remember the COVID one out there.
Yes,
Yeah,
That was one of the best times.
that was the best one.
yeah. That was a good one.
I can say we had happy hour.
Yeah.
Yes, we did. It
We
was
did.
fun.
We were sitting together.
We
for
did.
this. Yes, we had happy hour.
lucky with the weather.
Oh, yeah,
Weather-
November and
Gorgeous.
67
November
degrees.
day in the high 60s.
Yeah.
It was
It
spectacular.
was spectacular, no, it's just, yeah, that's cool, and that's you go down, like, you know, you get the jokes all the time, it's like small town America. You know what I mean, we made the best of something that was awful,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we worked through it, and then, you know, a lot of different things come up. I always say, I tell my friends, you know how I talk, but the first town meeting I had, it was the schools and the old people. I mean,
Oh.
remember how packed it was, I mean,
That
There-
one was
yeah.
awful.
there'd be 600
It's two
people, you could
rooms,
start till
two rooms.
7:30, yeah, 2
Yeah.
rooms.
2 rooms
But that's
full.
so cool,
It
right?
was cool. There was
Yeah, the
there were
people
a
showed
lot
up,
of people there.
Yeah.
and a lot of passionate people, and that's what,
Yes,
and I wish every town meeting's like that.
Yep.
You know,
It should be.
Yeah,
it
there
should
should
be.
be, yeah,
it should be.
yeah.
Yeah.
so you
I
guys,
don't think people understand the power that they wield
Yeah.
by being able to go to town meeting, having that right to vote and enact things. And I just don't think people quite
Believe it.
understand or believe it. Yeah.
I don't know if they believe it. But Joyce, you wanna come up?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is excellent, what you're doing. This is excellent. You're explaining, your questions are superb. One of the things I did want to comment though, is there are a lot of people who are afraid to come because they don't think they'll be heard. So somehow it has to be emphasized because people have been shot down when they've spoken. The audience has seen it, the TV land has seen it. And then they go, well, why should I bother saying anything? Because I'm not gonna be heard. So I think that's a key. I think it's great knowing what all these terms mean, but the feeling of being welcomed is so important. So,
Well, nobody's more welcoming than Brutus.
Yeah, I don't understand when you say people don't feel like they're being heard.
There've been some town meetings in the past, not you
I'm not
moderate.
saying you as a moderator.
Oh.
I'm just saying that there have been times when people have wanted to say things, but were afraid to because they thought they'd be shut down. There
By
are
their,
times.
by their peers?
By their
Like
peers
this
and,
bill
yeah,
says.
yeah, that, and by the people. I actually had to coax somebody to tell her you're not gonna be shut down. Speak your mind, you have every right. And it took her weeks to decide to finally do it, and she finally did. She felt great, but the poor thing was so shaken because
Well, it's hard to speak.
Well,
Yeah.
and there's a difference between being shot down and being disagreed with. I mean, unfortunately, I've seen too many people who feel that since I spoke against what they just spoke in favor of, it's somehow an attack, and it's a difference of opinion. I had at it with Dave Baker after one meeting 10, 15 years ago, and we're fine. You know, it's just different people have different opinions on things, and not everybody's going to agree with your opinion, and once you accept that, you're set for town meeting.
but see, you're
Yeah.
speaking this now and people watching
Yeah.
this.
But there's also, people react to town meeting, right? If people are gonna cheer, if they're for it, they're gonna boo, if they're against it, that's
Well, I would suggest that they probably shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, you shouldn't be cheering, booing and applauding. You should speak your mind, and then somebody, in my opinion, and I'm not the moderator, there's two of us that haven't been yet.
And
Up
we
here,
won't.
yeah, I'm rolling it out. I've got a retirement plan. Not for several years, Curtis.
I've always said whoever wants this position beside me is fine.
Yeah, no.
I don't think it will.
I got a couple more here at least, but no, I think that,
React.
but I don't think they should. I think that the reactions do
It's human nature.
cause more confusion, and, well, that's where it gets. People that I adamantly disagree with, who are making the exact wrong point from what we're arguing, shouldn't be booed. They should be educated, they should be spoken, explained, somebody should speak against them, but booing, applauding and cheering, I've been the recipient of both. I don't believe it has a place at town meeting.
Listen, it doesn't matter what you believe. People are going to react. It doesn't necessarily translate into votes.
Thank you very much.
You still have a vote.
Yeah.
Well, let's get this though, you said you've talked to people before,
Mhm.
what, what can I do as moderator to try to make it more welcoming for people? I mean, there's been things in the past with voting, they've talked about, the handheld ones, so people don't have to stand up and vote because they don't wanna be, seen one way,
Yeah,
and,
agreed.
But I mean, I'm always open for suggestions,
Well,
I
I
don't know
think
what we can do.
honestly, just saying that as a preface, saying that there's no one in this room that is not invited to speak. And if you have something to say, please feel free to, and it's okay.
Well, I'll mention that in my.
I mean, I think that's really important.
Opening.
I mean, I can tell somebody speak, but I'm not a moderator, I'm not the select board, I'm a finance person, but I can't. I mean, as a friend, I can say it, but I think in your position,
The job can be hard too, in that, people that don't quite have a grasp on town meeting think it's time to get up and speak on whatever town affairs that they want to speak to,
no,
which
I understand
is
that.
nice,
No,
but.
no,
That
I'm
happens.
not saying that,
Oh.
I just want him, and he could say, whatever
needs
you
to
want
be-
to be, whatever you'd like to speak about. It has to be in reference to what's on our warrant.
Right.
But don't fear coming up. This is your given right.
So we should back up a little, Mike, and talk about the fact that we spend months preparing the warrant, right?
Yes.
And different articles have different ways of passing or not. Some are 50-50. They can win by one vote. So
2/3.
yeah, we should do a little before you get to town meeting. You got anything?
Yeah, well, certainly as far as composing the warrant, there's a process that really starts in January. And even before, we start collecting, you know, maybe things or issues that need to be looked at over the winter prior to a Springtown meeting. And we work on those, warrant articles, and we do have a kind of a somewhat of a historic sequence of articles that we go through, but some of it, you know, we look at and determine what's the best order that makes sense on a number of levels. You know, there's a lot of work that goes in to try to determine, do we need a second room? Do we need a third room? Do we, you know, what level of staffing do we need there? What level of planning? We have a planning meeting later this week on certain officials to prepare for the town meeting. And during COVID, we'd have 3 or 4 of these meetings because it got very complicated. And the town moderator knows that a lot of things happen behind the scenes just to get ready and try to make the public as informed as possible.
Right.
It is truly hard to reach everyone.
Right,
Sometimes if they're not, you know, we do send out, the finance committee sends out a flyer.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know there's been times in the past where the post office might have missed, you know, a few places. But we do try through the website to try to reach out to everyone
Right.
and inform them. The finance committee meetings, we have a pre-town meeting, in 2 days for the finance committee. So there's a lot of attempts to reach the public.
So the warrant articles get set, most of them do with budget, what we're spending money on.
Yes.
And we need everybody to vote at town meeting.
Yeah.
And they get put into a book. And how many do we have this?
21.
21, they're typically
Yeah, in the town is different. We
I know.
usually have between 20 to 30,
20 to 30.
and some
They-
towns have 50 or 60.
Right,
But we try to do it in a way that it's manageable. And we do have the benefit, as town moderator said, we do have 2 annual town meetings, so we have the, you
Split 'em
know,
up.
the leeway to kind of spread those out a little bit based on priority. The spring tend to be focused on the budget, and the fall will be tweaking budgets, but mostly bylaws, you know,
Right.
zoning issues, those types of things.
so we work with finance, we work with every single town, every single board and committee comes before us, they give us what they want, we put it all together, we talk with everybody, we prepare the warrant, the book gets mailed out, I just got mine Friday.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna be presented, that's your Bible for town meeting. You
Yeah.
can take your book with you and follow along, and it's gonna go in order. And then we split up these articles, right? We each get 8 or 7.5. And finance does the same thing. They split up what they're going to present. And it's a process that takes 6 months.
Yeah.
And
what's
people-
amazing is we get it done in one night, and there's huge kudos to the moderator.
I know, for
keeping
doing-
it Running and moving so that we can
Because
get
you
through it.
hear about towns, oh, I remember growing up going to some town meetings that went to 1 in the morning and then the next night,
Yeah.
to 1 in
Yeah.
the morning,
Yeah.
and the next,
I went to some of those too.
I mean,
Arlington's no,
crazy.
4 to 5 days.
And
It's
we-
representative town meetings can be rough.
Representative.
Right.
Yeah, and then the other piece with the,
Go ahead.
yeah, the other piece with the putting items on, I've got a list of 3 items that came in after we closed our warrant the first time that we would probably consider in November. I mean, they just came in after we did the official first close. I don't like adding stuff, big items after that.
Right.
And then there's the petitioned articles, people petition those on, so you need 9 of your friends, you and 9 other registered voters can make us consider it a town meeting, so.
They're great.
Yeah.
Those are the fun ones. We call those the fun ones.
Well, and actually, and we have to accept them as written. I remember we had one that came in spelling errors, grammatical mistakes, and other issues. But you have to put it out there like it is, so it's interesting.
One last thing, hopefully last. Where are these articles, where do they come from? How are they created and how are they, you know, why are there sometimes 16, sometimes 22, but how do they come to you and become articles.
There's suggestions from different boards and committees, but the select board has the final say on what goes on there. For instance, there was a request for a vehicle for the building inspector that went through and made it through the capital planning committee and was evaluated, and finance committee talked about it. We chose not to even put it on, so we took that off the warrant. And since we took it off the warrant, since we'd write the warrant, it can't come back on that warrant. So maybe it'll be considered a future meeting, maybe not, but no, it's the discretion of the select board what goes on to that warrant. We receive input from a lot of people, but really it's the three of us that have the final say what goes on.
It's really every board and department coming to us and saying, but this is what we need. This is what we need. I need 3 police officers. I need 2 fire people. I need a fire truck. I'd like a DPW worker. We'd like some capital improvements here to this building. And we go through, Craig, how much money do we have? We got the pot of money, we got the pot of asks, and how do we divvy it up?
Yeah, and then other questions like policy questions, those are either originate from us, from the town administrator, or from
Right.
citizens who make requests.
Then
Right,
you've got zoning bylaws that'll
Yeah.
come from the planning board, and other requests for special projects from different boards and committees. So they really come from any number of sources within the community. And as was mentioned, the warrant is the select board's warrant. And once the board approves and signs the warrant and the constable posts it, their heavy lifting is done. At that point, it's purely the finance committee, the moderator, and the town meeting.
that's right.
And we're there as town officials to provide information and guidance. But it's, at that point, it's in the hands of the town
Right.
meeting.
Right.
That's good, but that's, I
That's
think.
good
Good,
stuff.
good stuff. Thank you.
Brutus, anything else? Excellent job.
Oh, thank you for having me. There were, I believe there's gonna be some openings on the FinCom. So if people are interested, I think if you go to the town website and you can reach out to the chairman, John Lore, it's gonna be talking to some folks and stuff. So
Okay,
there's a couple openings, transition. And if, I always said that if you, see yourself wanting to get into like town government, the best place to go is FinCom.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I've been doing this for years, and people run like, I'm gonna change this, I'm gonna get in police, I'm gonna get rid of DPW, and then, schools, and they get there, well, we only have so much money.
Yeah.
No, you guys all know, so I always think that, FinCom is just a great working knowledge, and as you said, everybody, before they hit you, they're talking to every board, they're talking to every department
that's
head,
right.
they're talking to all the chiefs, and they're figuring out what the priorities are of the town. So it's a good gig.
The
Yeah.
finance committee is a great way to start. I've done it for
It's
20
been a couple
plus years.
years, I think.
About 20 something, yeah. Then my kids all moved out of the house and I ran for this. Get to see my wife on Friday night if things go well
Right.
this week.
Yeah, so,
That's what keeps it, marriage really good.
Yeah, I found that.
Good stuff.
all right,
I'm looking forward to it. It's always a good time. It's always a good time, town meeting. What else are you gonna do on a Monday night? Right?
Yeah.
All the restaurants are closed in town, all of them.
what's up with that everywhere?
Well,
You
that's
can't go
not
out after
true.
10 o'clock anymore. Everybody's home.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Cappy's is open. What's the name?
New
of it?
Hill Grill's open on Mondays.
What's the
Yeah,
name
New
of
Hill's.
Cappy's?
But even like over
Victory
Frank.
Lane.
Victory Lane, Victory Lane.
I call the Cappies.
Cappy's, I don't know. I'm never gonna get the new name. It's been named that for 30 years.
I know. Boy, wow.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Brutus. Always,
Yeah.
always
Thank you,
good.
Brutus.
All right,
Moving on.
moving on. Discuss preparations for annual town meeting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We actually covered most of this.
We did.
And really also put it there just in case there were any last minute changes or discussions. There really isn't. We are, been working with, Millis Community Media on trying to live stream.
Anything different?
We're live streaming
it.
the meeting. We're gonna be in a transition phase, so for this upcoming town meeting, it won't actually be on live cable, but it will be live streamed. We do need to get some technical upgrades in order to be able to do it on cable as well. But for
Okay.
this year, it's gonna be live streamed, so anyone with an internet connection will, and for any reason they can't make it to the meeting, they can watch it on,
Now you can watch it. You
YouTube.
cannot vote
cannot vote on YouTube.
through your phone yet.
Ever.
So please come to the meeting, Monday.
So that's all I have on.
All right, that's good. Okay, vote to award the contract for the Lansing Millis Train Station reno.
Yes, Madam Chair, we did
This is
receive,
What?
we received, two, proposals, for the Lansing Millis Building Restoration Project. The low bid by far was by Aqua Barriers, Inc., for the restoration of that building. The winning base bid for the project was $230,690. The town did appropriate $250,000 for the project, at the fall town meeting. We have reviewed, Aqua Barriers' bid, and all the requirements have been met. I have, reached out to, the Permanent Building Committee, and they are, in agreement that, Aqua Barriers, Inc., should be the one that's a company awarded the bid. We are still reviewing the feasibility of alternates 1 and 2. But this evening, basically what I'm requesting is that the board vote to authorize me to sign a notice of award to Aqua Barriers. And I estimate that hopefully by your next meeting, we'll have the actual contract documents drawn up for the board to approve so that the project can get underway quickly.
Awesome. I need to recuse myself from this because he happens to be my roofer.
So I have questions.
So go.
So we're approving the amount of money to award the contract, but we haven't seen the contract yet?
All you're doing is you're awarding the bid. So the contract will actually come within the next week. We need to finalize the documents.
We're authorizing him to sign it.
So we're just doing a notice of award, so you're not approving the contract. The contract will be approved. We do have to, within so many days, give a notice of award to the bidder.
Okay.
So this is still contingent on making
On a
sure we have a
contract.
contract that is both agreeable to both the town and to the contractor.
Because I was curious as to what the contract was going to include, since the alternatives are the flat roof and the masonry repair and repointing. So if that's not part of the contract, I was wondering what was.
It may well be, but basically what the notice of award says, that the base bid in the amount of $230,690 has been accepted. Additionally, the town conditionally accepts your bids for add alternates 1 and or 2, dependent on receipt of future additional funding. So we don't have the full funding, currently, but we can certainly, meet with the bidder, and we can, negotiate that down, further. Or we could search for other funding sources or do some sort of combination of both. So that's part of the contract negotiation. The town has the liberty of negotiating the low bidder down. The low bidder can't go any higher. But the town always has that ability.
So we'll see an official contract when you're done with. the
Yeah,
negotiation.
I've been in contact with Attorney Liz Lyden from Meadtown and Costa, and she is currently working on that draft contract, and I should have that by later this week for the board's consideration.
Okay.
So this board basically says that they are the low bidder, and
Okay.
as long as they agree to a contract that's in line with this, then we'll move forward with that.
Okay,
So I'm recusing myself.
Okay.
So you guys take.
Oh,
take-
all right.
take it.
So I move that the board, upon recommendation of the Permanent Building Committee, award the contract for the restoration of the Lansing Millis Building to Aqua Barriers Incorporated, and to authorize the town administrator to sign the letter of award to Aqua Barriers Incorporated.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion, okay.
Go ahead.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but the word, kind of set me off, not, you keep saying restoration, I mean, renovation. It's not a renovation, and to keep saying renovation implies, or could get people to perceive that this is all that's needed to get that building up to snuff, and we know that it's not. All it is a protective, basic protective exterior work to keep it from deteriorating further. So I would just caution you from saying renovate.
It's actually I would classify it as a restoration of the exterior envelope of the building, which is really the legal language we need to use as part of the CPC funds. Because
Okay,
they can't
Right.
get involved in renovations, it's
The
restoration.
Restoration.
Of the
And
exterior.
that's what
On
your
the
motion
exterior.
said,
That's the
yeah.
motion.
Yeah,
contact of the restoration, yeah, so that's what the motion said.
okay,
Not renovation, okay.
restoration, okay.
Thank you.
So it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a review approval of outdoor seating for Napa Tandies and Cravings. Are they together? Are they separate?
Same
Yeah.
parking lot.
Yes, they share the
Same
basically
parking
same,
lot.
the same
Good one.
general parking area. So this is essentially a request from those two establishments to be able to utilize an area of the parking area behind those establishments. Also as part of this, the ABCC requires that the board officially authorize the use of that area since for Napa Tandies, it would be part of their liquor license, and they would be able to serve in that area. So that's the request this evening, is for the board to prove, and this really got its genesis during COVID, but it's proved to be extremely successful and popular. And it's my understanding it really hasn't caused any serious problems with the parking. There's still sufficient parking back there at this point. And the board could always, this is really at this point a 1-year approval. And the board in the future could change this if the parking became an issue. But again, this is to support the local businesses in that.
Yeah, but it's cordoned off in the back.
Right,
It's very
yes.
private, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, I move that the board approve outdoor seating for Napa Tandies and Cravings as requested and described in the materials in the meeting packet. I'm,
do we have to do each one
There's
separately?
two.
Okay, second.
There's two different, yeah.
oh, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
I
Unanimous.
move that the board vote to approve the use of a portion of the town-owned parking area by Napa Tandies and Cravings as described in the packet for this purpose.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
trying to see what the difference was between those two, but.
Well, one is actually expands for the use of the liquor license and
Yeah.
so forth, and the other is actual use of the town property.
There were different words, I figured it was different. Yeah.
Slightly different.
Yeah,
Okay,
all right,
are we, these last
these
two
are-
are,
Oh, the last two
Are gone, right?
are gonna be deferred to a future meeting.
okay?
But so the only item you have left is the liaison updates.
Okay,
Sure.
I'm looking at my calendar. Do you have anything?
Nope.
I attended finance committee.
So did I.
All right, doesn't count.
That was a posted meeting.
Yeah,
We-
yeah, that's,
Cross each other out.
Yeah.
That's it.
I got nothing else.
I got nothing.
I move we adjourn.
Second,
Even better. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
oh wait, can we reconsider?
No,
I'd like to move to reconsider something.
that was Brutus,
Yeah,
Yeah,
the appointing officer.
yeah.
Up to the
Great,
Thanks.
We'll see you Monday night.
right?
Yeah. We're down at,
That was good.
we're down at Napa Candy's last
I
Friday.
just hit the mute on that.
I see.